Namaste all. My Atma Pranams to Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji. My dear friends, my dear masters, and my dear gods. Today we are going to continue our last week's topic of spiritual weight loss. Last week we talked about different components of the spiritual weight loss. One is soul weight loss, which is caused by our vasanas, memories, and past life impressions, and that weight can be lowered by Sat Jana Sangatya. Afterwards, we talked about intellectual weight loss, which is caused by our belief system. We can decrease that weight load by means of Sva Adhyaya. Afterwards, we talked about mind weight loss or mental weight loss. Mind weight which is caused by thoughts, and we can decrease that weight by means of meditation. Then we are left with body weight loss. It is physical weight loss. We are going to talk about that very important and first component of a holistic weight loss of human being. But why I talk the other three first, and I am talking about this physical weight loss or body weight loss in the last. There is a reason why I am doing it. As I told you earlier, losing weight is difficult, but sustaining the lost weight, sustaining the weight loss is very difficult. But if we practice the soul weight loss by means of Sajjana Sangatya, if we practice intellectual weight loss with the help of Swadhyaya, if we practice mental weight loss with the help of meditation, then a physical weight loss would be very easy, and not only easy, but also it is sustainable. We can retain that weight loss for a long time. That is the reason why I am taking up this physical or body weight loss after I talked about three other components of the weight loss, that is soul weight loss, intellectual weight loss, and mental weight loss. Okay. Now, physical weight loss. Physical weight loss, why do we need weight loss? If we go to the statistics of the world, the overweight and obesity is the one of the major health problems of this Earth planet. We might have heard the word pandemic during the COVID-19 time. Before that, many of us didn't know about the word pandemic. Pandemic means the disease that is spread all over the world at every nook and corner of this planet. that happens, that particular disease is called pandemic. So that's why the COVID-19 was labeled as pandemic of 2019. Afterwards, we found some medication and drugs for COVID-19. We could control that pandemic of COVID-19 after discovery of the drug. Now, they took that name pandemic off of it because it is now well controlled. But now there is another disease which is at the pandemic stage in the whole planet, in the whole world, for which there is no medication has been discovered for it. And people on the all over the world is suffering from it. That is another pandemic. That name of that disease is obesity. The obesity all over the world is at the pandemic level. But there is no one single medication like we have for COVID-19. That we didn't have any disease. That's the reason why obesity is the pandemic of this world at this stage. Now, gradually, we are getting a new word in the medical science. Within a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years, we are going to hear that word. The word which is going to become very popular. The word obesity will be replaced by the other word that is called as globesity. The obesity that is spread all over the world, we are going to call as globesity. Because that is the main concern of this healthcare. People now, this growing obesity across the world. I told you what is the obesity. When we have in our ideal body weight, where the BMI, which I talked about last week, from 18.5 to 25, we call that ourselves as an ideal body weight. From 25 to 28, our BMI we call as overweight. After 28, we call that as obesity. So, the reason I am talking about this is, I am not saying all of you are obese, but many of us, including me, till a few weeks ago, most of us are overweight. I don't call it as obesity, but I call it as overweight. Before somebody becomes diabetic, at certain glucose levels of the blood, we call it a pre-diabetic. A pre-diabetic means a person is about to become diabetic if that person does not take care of himself or herself. So from pre-diabetic level, one has to come back to avoid going into the diabetic level. In the same way, when we are in overweight level, we have to take care of ourselves to come back into the ideal body weight range. Otherwise, there is a danger for us from overweight. We will fall shortly very soon in the level of obesity. That is the reason our goal is to come into the ideal body weight level as quickly as possible. And we, being the spiritual people, we can apply our spiritual principles that we talked about and help ourselves to come into the level of ideal body weight where the BMI is 18.5 to 25. And the epidemiologists, when they were looking at this obesity all over the world, they were touring all over the world to look at the various countries in the world and to study this obesity. They got a doubt. Is there any country in the world where the obesity is not prominent or very highly relevant? Is there any country in this world where most of the people are in their ideal body weight range, and most of this population are normal weight population is a myth, or is it there somewhere in this world? And when they were touring the whole world, they reached one country where they could see the people with an ideal body weight or a little bit of overweight, not definitely the obese people. They surprised, how come in this country most people are very healthy looking and in ideal body weight and also a little bit overweight, but almost none of them are obese? That country name is Japan. In the Japan, obesity is not at all a issue, whereas in Western world, obesity is a big issue. Now it is rampant even in India too. And after visiting the Japan, these epidemiologists were touring to the different cities and the villages or the towns in the Japan. And they visited one village or one small town, and they are surprised to look at the people living in that small town. They were all at their almost at their ideal body weights, most of them, with a little bit of overweight if somewhere or the other, but almost no obesity. But when the life expectancy of the rest of the world is around 84, 85, but in that particular town of the Japan, in addition to the normal ideal body weight and a little bit of overweight, but not at all the obese, there are also an additional living advantage. They are living up to 100 years, almost everybody there in that city or town of country Japan. That small town name is Japan, is called Okinawa. I want you to note it down and study about it after my talk, so you will know more about the Okinawan diet or Okinawan lifestyle. And these are all things that you can read more about it and try to practice what they practice. But I'm just giving a hint to get you yourself more knowledge about it. That name is called Okinawa. And then they studied about the lifestyle of these Okinawans, which make them not only maintain their ideal body weights without obesity, but also able to live almost 100 years of life. Not only 100 years of life, with a quality of life up to 100 years, with mobility and all those things. We all say most of our life expectancy is 85 years. But last 10 years of life, we have life, but we may not have the quality of the life. If the last 10 years of the life we end up in a nursing home and living on the bed for 10 years, what kind of life is that? For the statistical purpose we are living. but we don't have that quality of life. But this Okinawians, having the quality of life with very good mobility till 100 years of life. And then they studied what these Okinawians are doing. What is their lifestyle? What is their food habits? How do they lead their life? They observed and produced out the result out to the world. What did cause them live that healthy up to 100 years, maintaining their ideal body weight? I surprised when I read about this. There are four things that they, crucial observations that they made. Number one is plant-based diet. Okinawians follow the plant-based diet mostly. Most of their diet is plant-based diet. They call that as blue zone diet. Shakahara. Plant-based diet. They call it as a blue zone diet. And they have three observations about their diet. And also, one more observation is that when they eat, they practice mindfulness during eating. That means when they eat, they don't think nothing about the food in front of them and the act of eating. They enjoy the process of eating every bit of it with every sense, with eyes, with their nose, with your ears, with their tongue, and with their touch of the food, everything. And they enjoy the act of eating, which is called mindfulness eating. It is nothing but meditational eating. Eating while meditating while eating. That is called mindfulness eating. That's what they practice. And they also practice one more thing as far as the diet is concerned. And in the Japanese term, it is called as Harahachi Bu. H-A-R-A, Hara. H-A-C-H-I-H-E, B-U, Bu. Harahachi Bu in Japanese language. That means they eat up to the 80% of their stomach. That means when they feel I can eat 20 more percent, at that time they stop eating. That's what they do. And they fill the remaining 10% with water. And then they leave that remaining 10% empty. And this process is called Harahachi Bu. And these are their food habits that they practice. And when I observe these things, the two things in their food habits are nothing but the habits that are told by our Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patrishi. Number one is plant-based diet, Sakahara Jagat. Exactly that is being followed by the Okinawians in Japan, who maintain healthy body weight and very, very good health and the very longevity with good activity. And also, when you have the mindfulness meditation, Meditating while eating, it is also meditation kind of thing. When you eat, the meditation that is introduced by our Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji. And they have two more observations in the Okinawan people. Whenever they interview every Okinawan, they feel that they have sense of purpose of their life. Whenever you touch, when you ask, why are you living? What's your purpose? Everybody tells, I know my purpose of life, and I am working to fulfill the purpose of my life. That's what every Okinawan tells. And another very good habit of the Okinawans, all of them wake up early in the morning before the sunrise. That is the general habit of Okinawans. And they start working on their purpose of life. Somebody says, my purpose of life to work as a doctor. Somebody says, my purpose of life to work as a carpenter. Somebody says, my purpose of life is a cook. Everybody feels the purpose of life and get the best out of it and keep working to get best out of their life in fulfilling the purpose of life. This particular thing in Japanese is called as Ikigai. Ikigai. There's a beautiful book with a name, Ikigai. You can read it. There's a beautiful book about the purpose of life according to the Japanese view. How could they know the purpose of life? The way that they know the purpose of life is to go inside of them, to search inside of them, that their self will tell them what is the purpose of their life. So they study themselves, the book of themselves. That book will tell them the purpose of life. They will be able to read their own self-book. They can read and know the purpose of their life, which they practice the rest of their life, right from early morning waking up to the bed till they die after when they reach the 100 years of life. So this kind of knowing ourselves by going inside and studying our own is nothing but swadhyaya that was told by our Guru, the Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji. The third one that they observed in the Okinawan population is social network. That in Japanese word for that is Moai. M-O-A-I. Moai. What they do is, during their childhood, they find their like-minded people and they make friends with them and they grow together rest of their life, maintaining the relationships, helping each other, teaching each other, knowing each other, and benefiting from each other, serving each other. Like that they grow, walk together, help together, celebrate together, and they continue their relationships from the childhood till to their old age and adulthood. And this is the speciality and special social network that they follow that was observed in the Okinawan people. That thing is called Moai, M-O-A-I. And this is nothing but the word that was told by our Brahmarshi Pitamaham Bhatriji, that is Sajjana Sangatya. You be with the like-minded people. And all these plants-based diet and meditation kind of thing, and also Swadhyaya and Sajjana Sangatya, indirectly followed by this Okinawan people, even before the Patriji told us about this, and proved that all these things help them to maintain their ideal body weight and to maintain their health in successful way. And also one more finding. And these Okinawans are least number of chronic diseases, and they have the least amount of cancers in their population. Like that, this kind of plant-based diet with a meditational eating and sense of purpose of life with the Ikigai, a kind of Swadhyaya, and set of social network with Moai, with a kind of networking and Satyana Sangatya, they could maintain the ideal body weight and ideal health with a lot of activity till 100 years of age. With a lot of activity, they could successfully live. So that means there is a way that we can live with an ideal body weight without being obese, without being the overweight. We can do that. And there is a place, there is a, in Japan, where they are following and they are successful in that. And by knowing that, the rest of the world also can follow and attain that weight, health, and also the longevity. Now we will come to our subject. This is an observation we can do, but how we actually can apply and a practical aspect of this weight loss, how can we come to the ideal body weight level from the overweight level. For that, I would like to explain the physiology of the weight gain and the physiology of the weight loss, some medical science that I learned in from my medical school. I will try to bring it to the lower level as if I am telling to the non-medical people like you, to make you understand the subject that I learned in my medical school. I will try my best to make you understand the physiology of the weight loss that I learned. We eat 4 kinds of diets. One is carbohydrate. Second one is protein. Third one is fat. And fourth one is the combination of the fiber, vitamins, and the minerals. We eat 4 kinds of foods: carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and the combination of the fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Here, carbohydrate is a ready-made food. All these foods, why do we eat? To give us energy. Food, we give it energy. That's the reason we eat food. So they all give the energy, but the carbohydrates give the ready-made energy. So that means when you eat a rice or carbohydrate, it is available to you in a carbohydrate level for 3 hours in your blood, and it will ask you, I am ready to be used. You please use me. I am here in the blood. And we have to use it within 3 hours. The energy that has come from the carbohydrate. If we don't use that energy within 3-4 hours after it comes into our blood, it will not be no longer in the blood, that will go and be converted into fat. In the same way, the protein will be used for construction of the muscles and the flesh. If there is unused protein that is used for construction of the flesh and the muscles, that unused part of the protein also will be converted into the fat. And also, we also eat some fat in our food, and that fat will go and remain in fat. That means if we don't consume our carbohydrate right away and the left out carbohydrate for some time, it will be there in the form of glycogen, and more after that it will become the fat. And I will explain you like this. Fresh carbohydrate is the food that we just prepared and keeping on the counter. We can compare like that. That a carbohydrate will be converted into a form called glycogen, a stored form of carbohydrate, that can be compared to the food which we put in the refrigerator. Then the remaining, all this extra carbohydrate, protein, and the fat that is accumulated, and that can be compared to the food which is stored in the deep fridge of the refrigerator. Deep fridge. So what happens is, when we keep eating, we will use only carbohydrate, and that fat will be rising. That fat will be accumulating all over our body, including inside our blood vessels. That blood vessels, inside the blood vessels, this fat is getting accumulating, that blood vessels is getting narrowed. That's why we get hypertension. That fat will go into the arteries of our heart. It also accumulates inside of the blood vessels, which narrow the blood vessels and forms a plaque there. When there is a rupture, then that arteries in the heart will be closed because of these fat things. Then we get the heart attack. Not only that, one more vicious thing happened that we all should learn. When there is a lot of fat in our body, which is caused, also not only causes overweight or obese. If it just causes overweight and obese, that's okay. But it can cause more dreadful things, which I am going to explain one more. When the fat increases in the blood, that fat will go into the every cell of our body. That fat is accumulated around the cell membrane of the every cell in our body. I am explaining in your non-medical language. There are different terminologies for this in medical field, but I am not going there. And the fat makes the cell membrane of the every cell thicker. Then when you use when you take the carbohydrate, which should be used within 3 hours after eating, then they go into the blood, and they have that carbohydrate has to go inside the every cell of the body to be converted into the energy. But this accumulated fat in the cell membrane of the every cell make the cell membrane thick and interferes with the transport of this carbohydrates that which you have eaten enter into the cell. The carbohydrates, sugars, will not be entering into the cell because of the thickened cell membrane of the cell. And the carbohydrates, which is nothing but the blood sugars, are rising inside the blood because they are unable to go inside the cell. But the cell is saying, I am starving. I don't have a carbohydrate. I need food. I need food. But there is food in the blood. Carbohydrate is ready. But the fat that is accumulated on the cell membrane of the cell is preventing that carbohydrate to enter into the cell. This is nothing but diabetes, and the blood sugar in the level goes up. Then what happens? The cells in the blood, in the body are starving. Then they send the message to the brain. Hey brain, we are starving. We don't have any food. The cells don't know there is a lot of food inside the blood vessels, but it is not entering the cells. Cells don't know all this. We are starving. Sends the message to the brain. Brain says, oh, cells say there is no food. The body is suffering for the lack of food. Eat. It gives an order to eat. Then you feel the hunger. Then you eat more carbohydrate. When the more carbohydrate go inside, again, more carbohydrate is there. It is not absorbing. Then that carbohydrate will be converted into again more fat. Again more fat. Again more fat in the plasma membranes of the cells. Again, more problem. Again, starving of the cells. Again, send the message to the brain. Again, more eating. That's when this kind of vicious cycle happens. You keep eating and you feel hungry, and more and fat is accumulated in the blood, and more fat accumulated in the body, more fat accumulates in the blood vessels, more fat accumulated in our heart vessels, and whole body mechanism will become a big mess. You will end up being obese and morbidly obese. This is the physiology of the weight gain that all of you should remember. What happens if you just eat more than what you need? This is what is going to happen inside your body without your knowledge. Now we will talk about the weight loss. How the weight loss occurs. The weight loss occurs means we have to eat less, or we have to do more exercise. At least your input, what is the weight gain? Less input, more output, weight gain. Less input and more output is the weight loss. That means you have to create a calorie deficit in your body for you to lose weight. How do you create a calorie deficit in your body? There are two ways that you can do. One, with the help of the diet. How you do that? For example, if you need 1800 calories of diet for a day, what you can do is to lose the weight is you can create a calorie deficit is you eat 900 calories of the diet. But you need 1800 calories of the diet for your body to function. So if you eat 900 calories of the diet, food, body will use 900 calories from that food and bring that 900 other calories of the food from the fat. So that much of fat will be converted and bring it back and used by the body. So that way you have to create the calorie deficit when you eat. Otherwise, if you keep on eating 1800 calories of the food, your fat will never be converted into energy because it doesn't have any need. If you use 2000 calories of the food, even the 200 extra calories will be keep on going and adding into your fat level. Otherwise, you can also create the calorie deficit is you can eat 1800, but at least you can do at least enough exercise where you can burn at least a 900 calories of fat. So that 1800 calories will be used by the body, but the 900 calories that you are consumed by the means of exercise, that will come from the fat, then fat will dissolve and again the weight loss. So this kind of calorie deficit you should create inside your body by eating less and converting some of the fat back into the bloodstream and convert into the food. That fat will dissolve and you lose the weight. Otherwise, you can increase the exercise. In that way also, you can create the calorie deficit. And if you control your diet and do more exercise, you are creating the calorie deficit from two sides. That will be more effective way of losing weight. This is the physiology of the weight gain and the weight loss, where you have to create the calorie deficit. Now, we are getting into the point how we do the weight loss. What are the habits that we have? For the weight loss, we have to have 4 prerequisites if you want to lose weight loss very successfully. Very common mistake that people do during the weight loss, when somebody is obese or somebody is overweight, and when they go and look at the mirror, normally they say, I hate my body. I don't like my body. I don't like my weight. I like the weight of my friend who is weighing less than me. I like the person who is weighing a lot less than me. I want to be like him. I don't like myself. This is the wrong way of thinking. If it is your thinking attitude, you will never be able to lose weight. First thing, whatever it is, you have to love your body. Your body is your friend. Without you knowing, in your subconscious level, you loved your body. You requested your body to become fat. In the subconscious level, you had a desire of becoming fat by eating more, and it yielded your request, being a friend of yours, and it's suffering by himself. But to fulfill your desire, your body becomes fat. So it is your friend. You are not your enemy. So never hate your body. Love your body first. And it will help you to lose your weight and make you look very beautiful and also the handsome. Second one, never have any negative thinking and substitute with positive thinking. Never think that weight loss is very difficult thing to happen. I cannot do it. Even if I lose it, I will again regain it. And this kind of negative belief should go out of your mind. I can do it. I will be successful. I will play the game of the weight loss. I will prove it with the help of my body, and I can do it. If you have that kind of affirmations, if you have that kind of positive belief, and your thoughts will become a reality within due time. And afterwards, you affirm yourself, I can do it, I will do it, I can do it, like that. And afterwards, the last thing you have to practice is visualization. You visualize yourself, how you look after you come back into your ideal body weight range. Imagine, draw a small picture outline or put it in the mirror of your bathroom and look at it every time when you do your makeup or when you comb your hair and what. And keep looking every day and bring that visualization into your mind. And some people say, even go to that forward. What they say is, you just get a favorite person of you in your life, either a cine actor or a dietitian, whoever it is. You please cut their picture and take off their head page and put your face on the top, and whole body of that lean person, whomever you want to be like at the end of your dieting, and put that picture somewhere in your bathroom or in your kitchen or where you see frequently. That you kind of visualization will make the weight loss very successful if you follow it. And this kind of prerequisites that you need for the weight loss. Now, food habits. How do we eat food? What kind of habits that we eat make when we eat food if you want to successfully lose weight? There are only two ways. At least do more exercise and decrease your food intake. Definitely, if you food is definitely related to the weight gain, there is no other thing related to the weight gain. So the only way that you can lose weight is by controlling your food intake. That's the reason I am talking more about food and the food intake, because that's the only way. Because whatever you gain, you can lose by exercise, which is more difficult. But everything that we do is food. Food is easier than the doing exercise. And when you eat, because we are all the spiritual people, we are all the meditators, we all should think that our body is a temple. In the temple, who is the deity? Our soul is inside us, who is nothing but the deity. Our body is the temple, and we are feeding the soul that is there inside the temple. And when you have that kind of feeling, and then if you look at the food that you would like to eat, what you are doing, you are feeding to the deity that is present inside you, which is nothing but the soul, and you are giving the naivedya in the form of eating, and that is converted after taken over by the soul. It will be converted into your energy and give back to us in the form of prasada. The food that we give inside to the soul is nothing but naivedya. The energy that we get out of is nothing but prasada. That like we have had that naivedya manastatvam and prasada buddhi, if you should have it. And when you have this kind of attitude, and if you want to put naivedya, and what kind of food you put to the naivedya? You don't put a chicken soup or a lamb meat. You don't put it. You put a Satvic food. And that is called, I'm going a little bit faster now, I'm over time. Because we put the plant-based diet and no non-vegetarian. And we can put we don't put we don't take the food from the refrigerator or deep freeze and put as a prasad naivedya to the God. So we make the freshly made food and then we eat it right away. The sattvic, that kind of food is called as sattvic food. And we eat that sattvic food. That was the first thing, very, very important if you want to maintain your weight. Then how you eat is also very, very, very important. And when we eat, you have to observe your eating. You have to be the spectator of your eating. Then you have to be a meditator after eating. That eating should be a meditation for you, observation of your act of eating and thinking only about eating and nothing else. No watching TV and eating, no watching in the laptop and eating. And when the time is for eating, it is exclusively for eating. When you eat, you start the process of eating with a prayer before, an attitude of gratitude to the universe, which helps you to bring the food to the plate, and that you are offering inside to the soul as a form of naivedya. That makes us a thinker. And you won't become by doing all this when you have the food. If you immediately gulp it, that is a reactionary eating. When you wait till you do your food and enjoy the food with your eyes and all those things, that prayer will give time to get ready for the act of eating. And when you eat, you always apply mindfulness eating, which is nothing but meditational eating. Avoid distractions. No watching TV or watching your laptop during eating. Eat is eating time. And eating in the small bowls. Don't put a big plate and then big bowls and keep putting and eating. No. Whatever you want to eat on that particular day, you put only one time in the plate. That's it. And put all the curries around it. That's it. And all put in your service bowls out of your dining table. You have to eat only you. That means you have to know when you start eating your dinner or lunch, you have to know what the amount that you are going to eat. Otherwise, we keep putting the rice, we don't know how much we end up eating a lot of rice, which we don't know that we are eating. Fix the quantity before eating. The best example is the airline meal. When we go into the India, they serve the meal. That is very, very, very less meal for most of us. That is the way that you should eat. That is called airline meal. Then eat the meal in a very small, small quantities. In the back home, they used to tell Goru Mudda. Goru Mudda means you take that much quantity of the rice and use your Goru, nail, and with this Goru, you should be able to push that morsel into the mouth of the baby. Like this. You have to do this, mouth of the baby. So that much you should eat each time. And that way you will use a lot of time to chew it and gradual. That you will take a lot of time when you eat. at least you have to practice in the dinner time. If you don't have time to do that in the lunch time, do a small quantity of life and stop when you are 80% full. Fill the rest off with the 10% of the water and leave 10% empty. Otherwise, if we have the habit of eating up to the full of the brim, and imagine if we have a mixer and put everything inside up to the top of the lid and put the lid, and what happens if you turn on your mixer? It won't move. It will give the sound like that, but it won't move. Same thing will happen in your stomach if you eat and don't have some place. That's what in the mixer, you have to put something in there and put some water and then leave some place for empty for it to move around. Thus, our mixer is nothing but your stomach. And if you do that 80, 10, and 10 rule, that will help for the digestion process, and then it will easily disappear. And then you also know how to measure the pleasure eating. Eating is for energy. Also, eating is also for pleasure. And you also should have some pleasureful eating and eat what you like to eat, but limit the quantity. Limit the quantity. And you may like 4 or 5 things at a time, but don't eat all 4 or 5 things at a time because you like them. Distribute them. If you like 7 things, eat a little bit of each thing every day. You enjoy the quality of the eating which gives you pleasure, but don't depend upon the quality of the thing which you like. The main problem, you can enjoy the pleasure of eating, but the problem with you is the quantity of the thing what you like. But you have to enjoy the quality of it and enjoy it, and you should be happy. That's what you should do. And also, sometimes fasting also helps. It creates the calorie deficit. And fasting means you are loving your organs of the digestion. And you are saying, oh, organs, you have been working for me day and night every day. Please take some rest. And I will give you a break for your work for a day. Like that, you love your digestive system. Give some break and then do fasting. During that fasting, your stores of the fat will be converted into the energy. It will help. It also not only give to the rest of the digestive system, it also help burning your fat, causing the calorie deficit. And after eating, be in a vertical position as much as you can, because the gravity will empty your stomach contents down, and gravity helps mobile the stomach contents down. And then the last thing is patience. Don't expect immediate results with the weight loss. Slower the weight loss, longer the weight loss, retention of the weight loss. Don't treat weight loss as a punishment. Enjoy the weight loss as a game and play the game slowly, wisely, and you will be successful at the end. And enjoy the weight loss. Play the game of the weight like an athlete. Slow and steady wins the race. Sorry, I have to rush a little bit in the end. I know how it's almost 10 minutes over. Sorry, I took a little bit over time. And I went open for the question. Thank you.